Well, welcome to the round table, the student round table about learning AHP. This is the last session in the conference. You must all be a bit tired, but happy for the interesting panels we have attended. Now, my name is Enrique Mu. I teach analytic hierarchy process in decision making as part of the coursework and the MBA program, and I'm here with two of my students for this panel. Anna?
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Anna Florek-Paszkowska. I'm from Poland, but at this moment, from 2019, I'm working in Centrum Católica Business School in Lima, Peru. I have about 20 years experience about AHP, but I was teaching AHP before in some Polish best universities. But at this moment in Peru, because Enrique knows, the reality in Peru, there is these methods are not so popular. So I try to prepare some programs, some courses in Centrum Católica to spread it and make it more popular. At this moment, we have opportunity that the students that I was invited to our round table, they learn it by themselves. And because my colleagues from the university know that I'm using this method, they connected me and the students so I can help them. So it will be a great pleasure to hear you guys from other universities, from University of Pittsburgh, Carlow University, and Centrum Católica, to spread our experience and the experience of our students to make it to teach and to spread these methods even better. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Elena Roku. I actually teach at Katz Business School in the University of Pittsburgh decision making and also simulation and optimization. We thought today we have a team from the optimization course actually, and we thought that it will be interesting to see kind of a different approach to HPA and ANP because our team worked and combined Simio, that is a simulation package that helps you simulate operations in different situations with the decision making using the super decision software. The team is composed from Rachel, Miranda, Nicole, and Nora. And I think that we are ready whenever you're ready, ladies, to see what you did and what kind of simulation. Thank you.
Thank you. To start, we'll just briefly introduce ourselves. So my name is Nora Krous. I actually just graduated from the University of Pittsburgh, and I was a supply chain management and marketing major.
Hi, my name's Miranda Cahill. I am graduating in the spring, and I'm a human resources management major and business information systems, also pursuing the business analytics certificate.
Hi, my name is Nicolette. I will be graduating in the spring as well. And I am a supply chain management major, and I'm also getting the business analytics certificate here.
And hi, my name is Rachel Hannum. I am also a senior graduating in the spring, and I'm studying supply chain management and marketing with a minor in economics and a certificate in business analytics.
We're really excited to be here and excited to share with you the final project we put together for our class, and now kind of introducing it into the conversation more in depth about AHP. So just a little bit of context. So as I mentioned, I just graduated from the University of Pittsburgh, and before starting my full-time job with Deloitte Consulting, I'm working at a coffee shop in my hometown, right outside of Syracuse, New York, actually, and it's called Soleil Cafe. And so this was kind of our sort of model place for our final project, and we decided to keep it pretty relevant and answer some questions regarding how Soleil Cafe could optimize their operation in the face of COVID-19 and the difficulties they're facing. So there's clearly a lot of changes in the retail environment happening with the effects of COVID. So we look to understand using Simio and then an AHP model, what the best protocol was in terms of expanding and if that was a good idea for their operation. So now I'm going to pass it off to Miranda.
Thank you, Nora. So this is showing our original Simio model, which is how the store is currently running now. So we have the 3 different customer types, which are the coffee, tea, specialty drink, and baked goods customers. And this models them from when they enter the store to when they exit. We took into consideration how often each of these customer types arrives at the store and then how long it takes to process each customer type. For example, the specialty drink customers, it takes longer at the coffee station to prepare their order versus someone who's just getting a plain coffee or tea. And then we also did an experiment to determine how we could best staff the store if we wanted to keep it at this original model. So we wanted to minimize the time and system and then optimize the utilization as well. And then we do have another option, which is an expansion of the store. So I'm going to turn that over to Nikki, who's going to talk a little bit more about that.
Thanks, Miranda. So what you're seeing here is just kind of a time lapse of our Simio model running with the model entities going through the system. And so we created this to kind of see how Soleil Cafe could adapt to the pandemic and maintain the good customer ratings. So we added the expansion to eat outside, and this will allow the customers the option after receiving their coffee from the coffee station server or receiving their baked goods from the kitchen server to then eat outside at a table and enjoy the atmosphere that Soleil Cafe has to offer. So in our Simio model, we made every customer that ordered a baked good to then eat outside. And we also had 30% of our customers from the coffee station also eat outside. And then we also added 2 resources, the tables and the general worker. And this simulates the delayed timing with having to clear a table and then wait to sit down when a new table opens up. So then in order to test the outdoor seating option, we ran a couple experiments to test the best way to staff Soleil Cafe to ensure timely service as well as the lowest possible cost. So we played around with like 8 different scenarios. And then from there, we picked the best one that had the best time and system and utilization for the customers. So I'm going to pass it off to Rachel to talk about our AHP model.
Thanks, Nikki. Yes, so for our decision-making part of our project, we used the Super Decision software, and we used it to make an A&P model. So the picture here in the top right is what our A&P model looked like. Our first cluster was the alternatives cluster, which included 2 nodes, one being expansion to outdoor seating and the other being no expansion to outdoor seating. Our second cluster is the performance measures cluster, which includes utilization, operational costs, time system, and setup costs. And then the third and final cluster was all about customer care. So we have nodes of customer satisfaction, alignment with goals, and then demand. So below the picture of our A&P model is the priorities table, which shows that the decision to expand to the outdoor seating is preferred. Operational cost, demand, and time and system are the most important factors in making this decision. So after looking at the priorities, we took a look at the A&P sensitivity bar charts. So here are the bar charts for the top 3 decision factors, which I mentioned being operational cost, demand, and time and system. So we set the parameters at 0.1, 0.5, and 0.9 respectively, all of which produce very similar bar charts showing the preference to expand to the outdoor seating area, and there was no rank reversal present at all. So to conclude, we would recommend to Soleil Cafe to expand to the outdoor seating area. This is a really great way for Soleil to adapt to the pandemic and increase customer satisfaction at the same time. And as discussed earlier, we use Simio to figure out how best to staff Soleil in the event of an outdoor seating expansion. So not only are we recommending expanding to them, we are also able to tell them how best to staff the coffee shop upon the addition of this new part of their shop. The staffing numbers are listed here, but they are essentially as low as they possibly can be in the interest of staffing costs while still ensuring that customers are served in a timely manner. So that is all we have for today. Thank you for your time and attention, and a special thank you as well to our professor, Dr. Roku, for providing such a great course for us this semester, as well as being an immense amount of help for this project here. So thank you.
Thank you very much. It's really a very impressive application of the kind of job a consultant would do. According to our program, we're going to have enough time at the end of the presentation, probably at least 10, 15 minutes, to really allow the audience to ask questions to the presenters about the project or about any other aspect in this roundtable. So let's start with the roundtable. Now, I would like to start with here it is, with Caitlin. Caitlin is one of my students, and the question for Caitlin is, you have studied AHP as part of the coursework instruction. What are the benefits of this that you have experienced or you have found?
So for me, because of the industry that I work in, hospitality, we're kind of making decisions on the fly, and we never really kind of get to sit down and think about the different routes that we could take to get to the solution that we need. So learning AHP through this course really showed me that, you know, sometimes we can take just a few steps back, take a little bit more time, and we'll have something concrete in front of us that can show us the best alternative compared to us just throwing ideas out there. Or, well, maybe this would be the best, or maybe this would be the best. This is kind of like a more concrete way of just saying, hey, based on, you know, different factors, this would probably be the best, even if it disagrees with, you know, what we were originally thinking.
For Ashley, to Ashley, I want to ask her, what are the challenges that you as a student have faced in order to learn AHP?
Thank you, Dr. Mu. And first of all, I want to say thank you for helping me throughout this course. And I do find that it's beneficial. But for challenges, personally, in the beginning of the AHP course, I felt intimidated about the subject because my background is in nursing. I'm a nurse, and I'm in a dual degree program, and I thought maybe I wouldn't be able to succeed without a business background looking into AHP. However, while I do feel that the instructors and course materials were set up to help the student up for success, I feel that the material itself could be a lot to comprehend. I found that there were a lot of steps to follow in each chapter, but while they were broken down in the text, myself and my teammates sometimes found that you had to really sit there and read and reread to comprehend the concepts of AHP. Sometimes this is challenging because of our workloads. As a graduate student, most of us are working full-time jobs, we have families, we are full-time students, we're taking other classes, which can really make it hard to set out the time needed to sit down and reread these concepts to have a full understanding. I think that I would have liked to have taken the course maybe in a hybrid format as opposed to all online, as I feel it would have been more enjoyable and effective for the students to learn while the teacher was leading the course in person. Another challenge would be learning the AHP Super Decision software. If you're not tech savvy per se, this could be a challenge and more time needed to further comprehend that task and skill. I felt that using AHP for a group project was particularly challenging because everyone has different opinions and ideas for how they weight criteria. And also it's a challenge because we all have different cognitive biases we need to overcome in making those decisions. When I participated in the group project using the AHP, not all members had the same grasp or understanding at the same type of level of how we understood AHP. So I think that could be related to the fact that our time management, sometimes we didn't all take the same amount of time to sit there and really grasp the concepts that we were learning. But other than that, I did enjoy this course and I do think it was beneficial for me personally. Thank you.
Next, Elena. it's your turn to ask your students about their experience.
Yes, and I'll start first with Rachel. And the question is, what are the benefits that you saw from learning HP and ANP as part of the coursework?
Yeah, so the HP ANP course, or part of the course, was at the very end of the semester, and it was definitely one of my favorite parts. I think the benefit is definitely to the real world. That the four of us PIT students on this panel today are all getting ready to graduate, as we mentioned, move on to full-time roles. And what's so cool about courses like this one is that it's incredibly applicable across all different types of roles. I know we're all four going into very different areas, and no matter at the entry level or beyond, I know that these are concepts that I'll learn, across a wide range of time. And, besides just our jobs, we're also moving into a very decision-heavy part of our lives. We were all talking yesterday, and it's crazy because we're all moving to different cities and we're figuring out living situations. And one day here soon we'll be making larger purchases, say, for example, a car. So, just a lot of decisions. And that's not going to change. If I were to guess, we were only going to continue making more decisions, and they're going to get more and more complex as time goes on. So learning the AHP technique and ANP and working through it and then ultimately applying it to projects like the one that we just presented really gave me just a comprehensive understanding of decision making in a way that I'd never really thought about decision making before. Each and every problem that we approached in this class really required us to break it down. We had to think about the goal and the alternatives, the criteria, how everything interacted with each other. And, to speak to my personal preferences, I like logical, structured approaches to things. And so HP and ANP just makes sense. It's a really nice mix of kind of using your own knowledge about the problem at hand and also kind of handing it off to the software to give you the optimal decision. So in short, it's just a very decision-heavy point in our lives, and learning HP and ANP and all of the related concepts challenged me in new ways this semester, and really helped me understand decision-making in a new way.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. Nora, the nice question for you. What are the enjoyable aspects of learning HP and ANP?
Yeah, so as Rachel mentioned a little bit, we had a wonderful conversation yesterday, kind of just reflecting on the semester. And one thing we highlighted was the usability of AHP and the software we use and how it honestly was pretty structurally logical in understanding the process and what we were doing. Like we, as Rachel mentioned, we're all making decisions. We're making pretty significant decisions in our life. So the objective was pretty tangible from the beginning. I think what I also personally enjoyed, I'm a very process-oriented person. So getting to have a little bit of a peek behind the curtain of a lot of things I, as a consumer, see the end result of was really cool. So for example, as we mentioned with our final project, that's a place that I, am a part of every day. So being able to think through, okay, here's a legitimate problem or a legitimate opportunity that Soleil is having. How can we go about solving this problem or embracing this opportunity? Whereas usually I'm on the other side as a consumer seeing the end result. So that was really enjoyable. And also as a student, very cool to learn about in the present day, in the present environment. And then lastly, we talked about the experimentation factor of AHP, getting to figure out and navigate different variables and experiment along the way and kind of play around with what we were using to see how it affected the end outcome of the decision making. So.
Okay, thank you very much. Now it's Anna's turn with these students that they were not taking AHP as a part of the course, but they found out about it and decided to learn it on their own. Anna?
Yes, thank you, Enrique. Hi, Jose. I see that Joel is not with us, but I hope that Joel will represent the whole group of students who are apply HP in their thesis, in their work in Centrum Católica. I would like to ask Jose, do you think this course, to learn about HP can be self-taught? It was easy for you and your colleagues to learn HP. What kind of difficulties you also observe? So if you can share with us your experience, Jose.
Good afternoon, and my name is Jose Luis Godoy. I'm a lawyer. I'm from Peru, and well, and I'm a student of Centrum Católica. In fact, Joel Aranda is here. He's right here. He's present. Well, my English is not very good. Sometimes I will need some help. But I would like to say that 4 months ago, we didn't know anything about AHP. We learned it online, watching YouTube videos, reading papers online, because in Peru we do not know about that method, and so it was difficult for us. We were working on our thesis, and we needed a method that combined some subjective aspects and some objective aspects, and we didn't find anything that worked for us. So we started researching until someday we discovered AHP. So we start studying it because we needed to see if that could help us. And well, it worked very well. We made some mistakes because we didn't know anything. For example, building up models is some of our problems because almost all the papers we found were focused on how to make the analysis of alternatives, but we wanted to know how to build up models so accurate, but we didn't find it. So when our advisor presented us Dr. Anna Florek, it was so useful for us because she knew what we were talking about in Peru, and nobody knew about it. We read some papers, and the papers we found were very from 2000, 2010, were not documents which refer some recent cases. In fact, there were few papers in Spanish. Well, we didn't find anything so recent in Spanish. So it was very hard for us. It was very hard. I can say that quarantine for us was useful in order to learn something new. Was a quiet experience, but I think AHP can be self-taught, but we need more. How can I say, more examples of real cases, because until we started seeing real cases or discussing real cases with Professor Anna, we didn't understand how it was how it can work in the real way, in the right way. You know? Well, that's what I can say. Now we are working on our thesis. We are studying a company that has to make an investment to improve its efficiency, and has some three alternatives. But with AHP, choosing the alternative is easier. It's easier, and it gives us some much support.
Okay, thank you very much, Jose. I see the question in our chat. You respond, your response just a little bit is more clear to our audience. You have a question: what kind of problems have you solved, or you try to solve using AHP?
Well, I'm a lawyer, and my other colleagues in this thesis are not so mathematicians, if the word is right. So it was difficult for us to build up Excel because we didn't know there were this software. I see the presentation before, and I can see that there's some software that you can use, but we in Peru, we didn't know it. So we had to do it from zero, starting making Excel formulas, and we projected some charts. Well, that's one of the things that we have to manage, and also finding out real cases, because we started looking for some bibliography in Spanish, and we didn't find real cases where AHP could be applied by. Now I can see, now in this event, I can see so many interesting cases, and it can help us to understand how to use this tool to our thesis.
Thank you very much, Jose. I think that your presentation was excellent. Your English as well. You shouldn't be worried about that. If any of our participants, if our audience have any question directly to some of our students, we would like to invite you. Yes, Enrique.
Thank you very much. George is not here, right? Okay. Well, first of all, it's a pity we don't sell AHP AMP, because this was really like a publicity spot. So I want to make the disclosure that the students were not prepped, were not told what to say. They were just told what they would be asked, so they could have a chance to really think about it. But now, this is the opportunity for the people in the audience to ask questions directly to any of the panelists. And before the end, then, you know, we will have this, but the audience to ask questions. So feel free to, Elena, I don't know, are they going to unmute themselves, or they need to raise a hand? How do?
Give me just a quick second, and everybody will have joined us over here, so we can look at each other and talk and direct the questions. I think that now we are all together over here, and they can either raise their hand or send in the chat that they want to make a question and unmute themselves and ask. Maybe you could organize us a little bit, but everybody now is able to talk, and they can ask you directly questions or to the students.
It can also it can be a question, or it can be also a comment related to what the students have said. I know that some of you do have a lot of experience teaching AHP. I see Mushian here, you know, and so feel welcome to Mushian.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually, Professor Carpak is about to say something. Please, for the moment, don't have anything.
Go ahead, Dr.
Really, I do not.
I will talk after you. Yeah. I was just going to say that I was quite impressed how students integrated the Simio with the ISAHP and how they did sensitivity analysis. So I was very impressed with supply chain management majors. Are you undergraduate students or graduate students?
Undergrads.
Undergrad. Then I thought so. I think that is even more impressive that as an undergraduate student, you were able to do such kind of project. So I think customers will like having coffee outside after your recommendation. Yeah.
Mujigan?
Yeah, actually, I will say the same thing. Congratulations, and having these kind of projects for especially undergraduate students is not that common. So we start having this chance maybe just after graduate studies and then for some academics work on this. So really, I was impressed by your project. Congratulations. If I may, if I can, I have a personal question to Nora Krous. My young niece is about to start a university in Syracuse this next coming semester. So I like to be in contact with her to get some more information about Syracuse. This is a personal request from one of the students, Nora.
I would love to provide more info.
Is about cafe, and I paid attention that that cafe is in Syracuse, which is her hometown, I guess. So I like to be in touch with Nora.
We'll make sure that that happens.
Something personal sharing to make you laugh. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Somebody else?
If nobody else there, I will just appreciate Ashley. I really liked your answer, and I really like your courage. I know I have some nurse students in the MBA program, so each of you have different strengths. So I can understand what kind of difficulties you went through, and it is great that you are here at the panel.
Thank you so much, Professor Carpak. I really appreciate it. And Dr. Mu can attest. The beginning of the course, I was like, I sent him an email. I was like, I heard this class is really hard. I feel like I don't know if I can succeed because, you know, I'm in an MSN MBA program, but I'm so grateful for even this opportunity. Look where it took me. So I never thought that it would lead to something like this. So very grateful, and thank you so much for your comment.
Yes, really good. May I add something in my teaching experience?
Yes,
sure.
Shashi, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm basically from industry. Yeah, I'm basically in a consulting business. But in Nepal, Kathmandu University School of Management, they have got a specialized course in MBA in MIS. They have got a course, decision support system. So that was elective course. And then they were searching for the faculty. They have not decided the faculty. So they found me. But when I look at the syllabus, it was not of my all interest. So the school was so nice that they changed the syllabus as per my interest. And it was focused on AHP, and there was a 90% weightage on work, major projects and minor projects. So I could present the students' works in ISAHP 2013 in Malaysia, my paper with one of the students, contemporary issues of AHP application in Nepal, was all the student works. So all the problems, all the projects were from their real life thing. They're all EMBA students. So it was really interesting for the real life problems they're bringing in the class, and then working with that problem, and then solving, and they're very happy, and they're still in contact with me. It was back in 2012. So then after this, because it's an elective course, so it should be more than 7-8 people to run the course. So that was very very interesting experience for me to teach ASP. It's a full 4-credit course.
And we would be very much interested with your students presenting in these conferences, Sashi.
Yes.
Just bring them, so they should be in the panel as well.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to add something based on my experience teaching ASP. I used to teach during the summers in Germany in the European Business School, and I assigned an individual project. And I recall one student, his father had promised him that after he would graduate for, it was like a master, he would be given a car as a graduation present. And you know, buying a car is the first exercise that you learn using ASP. And he said that he could use that as a project. And I wasn't that happy, but I said, okay, do it. But when he turned in his project, that could have been a PhD dissertation, you know. He had really analyzed things in a way, sensitivity, in criteria. He even had that, how would James Bond look driving that car, no? But I realized something that students to learn, if it's a decision that is really dear to them, that they really care about, they will definitely enjoy the process, and they will go, you know, beyond what is expected, or they will learn what needs to be learned because they really care about the decision. And ASP provides, an AMP provides really a way to find an answer. So in my experience, it's got to be a decision that people care about, and then they look for ASP. They themselves look for how to make the decision.
If nobody has any comments, and I want to comment Jose's presentation. Jose, I think you told me that you didn't know that there was software, but I think by doing it by hand, I am sure you really understood the what is AHP really well. So this advantage quite probably provided some kind of advantage for you. Now you can, you know the presence, so you can use it. And I think we need more logical decision making in law area. So in your area, logical decision making is really necessary. Yeah. So you can contribute.
It was so it was difficult indeed building up the Excel charts, but finally, as you say, it helps us to understand the logic behind all the process. Now we have this orientation, this advice from Professor Anna Florek that is important for us because there are some aspects that self-taught cannot give us real cases, for example. Thank you.
Well, Jose Luis's experience, you know, has made me think that perhaps we should create some sort of a international consulting center, you know, in which we could even refer the students to the material in the different languages. And I mentioned this because last week I was contacted by a student asking me some questions about ASP, etc. And she introduced herself as an undergraduate student from a university in Indonesia. And she was working in renewable sources of energy, and she needed to select which was the best alternative and discovered ASP. And then following the literature, she found my name, and she said, I just have one question. I said, fine, I answered. And the next day she emailed me again, I have another question. And so forth. In the end, I sent her my book because everything is there, but I'll be happy to answer any question, but I'll read first this book. But an undergraduate student in Indonesia working in something different and discovered ASP a few years ago, I had also a French student studying in China, the same situation. So perhaps we should create some sort of a international advisory center. I don't know.
Enrique, you are muted again.
Enrique, your microphone.
Yes, I'm saying that Elena, Anna, you know, that's, if you have anything to add.
Yes, I would like to say something. I just remind, you know, when was my first experience about AHP more than 20 years ago, and I also, like Jose, at the beginning was calculating everything by hand. So it's something that you learn, but after I was like, I found information that's expert choice and then super decisions when I met Thomas and Roseanne. Know that, but I would like to ask, you know, I was asking Jose about his experience learning by himself, yeah, that he told us his difficulties, etc. But I would like to ask students from Carlow University or University in Pittsburgh if you can share with us, because you were participating in some courses to learn about AHP and P that you apply perfectly. Can you share with us what kind of difficulties did you face and did you observe to help us, like professors, like people who try to share these methodologies, you know, for the future generations, to make it simpler, easier? What can make simpler and easier to share with these methods? I don't know if someone of you can share with us your observation, your feedback. It will be really nice. Thank you.
So I would like to answer this question. Something that Jose kind of talked about, having to do it all by hand in the beginning, is kind of what Dr. Mew had us do. We kind of learned the whole AHP by hand, and then we got into it with super decisions. For me, at least, it was very hard to grasp all of the concepts just by reading the book and reading lecture slides. Once we got into super decisions and I was able to see like videos that corresponded to someone actually utilizing super decisions, it became a lot more easier for me to just kind of understand the different aspects of it, both in super decisions and outside of super decisions. And that actually helped me in my individual project to kind of look at different routes when doing my sensitivity analysis. So if I were to make like a suggestion for improvement, it would just be, you know, if you're going to try and teach it by hand, maybe just try and provide some kind of supplemental material just to kind of help someone visualize it. Like me, I'm very, I visualize everything when I learn. So that probably would have helped me just when we were learning it by hand, just to kind of see, okay, this was someone else's thought process and how they got to the end result. So yeah, I think that at least would be an improvement or a suggestion that I would have.
Great, Kathleen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Well, I think we're almost getting ready for the closing ceremony. So we have 4 minutes. I think it's enough for each of the faculty members to close this. So let's start with Elena. You have something to conclude?
Yeah, actually, I'm really happy that you enjoyed the application with the simulation. I have to admit to my students first and to all of you that when we started, I was just trying to find a way to realize that, operations management and all the strict numbers and simulations that we were doing, that are things that we actually can use in our everyday life, and not everything is black and white. So it seems that the experiment is working. You can combine hard and usually very clear operations research with decision making and give a more practical view of math and how to use it in your actual work experience.
Okay. Anna?
Thank you.
I would like to say thank you. Thank you for being here, for all of you. for Jose and students from Carlow University and University of Pittsburgh. It was a pleasure to observe your work, that you share with us your experience. This is some fresh look probably when you hear person who just starts to have this journey with HP. I'm so glad to see the new generation in our HP family, as we always said. So I hope that you find this useful in your future projects. And if you want to contact with someone of us, you are open. We are so glad to help. At this moment, I'm helping Hossein and the group. So I'll be glad to contact with the people who need my help. And I know that Enrique and Elena and people who are here, we are really glad, to see you in our group.
Okay, thank you. For my part, thank you to Ashley, Kathleen, and all the students. And just one observation is that the course I teach, AHP, is an online class and it's an asynchronous class, meaning we don't have a face-to-face meeting. So the students really have to learn on their own using the material, although we do have occasional meetings whenever they get stuck or they have problems. But still, I think it's, I've always been impressed about the ability to learn the complexities, particularly the mathematical part, on their own. I'm sometimes I'm concerned, why am I doing here? Having said that, also the theme of this conference, I chose the next generation because I always was fan of Star Trek, The Next Generation. But what Anna has said is true. You constitute the new generation of practitioners, scholars, and we are very happy that at this conference there have been a large number of attendees, presenters who are in that category. So thank you to all of you for your interest in HP. Thank you for the audience and all the colleagues, scholars, professors interested in teaching AHP. It's a pity that we cannot really meet like in the old times with a cup of coffee or a beer or a glass of wine, but still it's a pleasure to see you all, and I'll see most of you in a few minutes in the closing. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You all.
Thank you.